Grace to you, friends, and peace to you. Is anyone else losing track of the days these days? If so, it's Sunday, and at 10:30, Christ Church will worship by live stream again here at Facebook Live. Let's come into the day with prayer. Praying with Psalm 100. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing. Know that the Lord is God. It is he that made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name. For the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. We don't see God's steadfast love and faithfulness any more clearly than we do in Jesus. In Paul's letter to the Ephesians, he lifts up Jesus again and again as the one who truly reveals God's purpose for all creation, who is the heart of each of our lives. And in chapter 1, verse 3, or chapter 1, verse 5, we hear, God destined us for adoption as his children through Jesus Christ, according to the good pleasure of his will, to the praise of his glorious grace that he freely bestowed on us in the Beloved. If it was God's will to bring us into God's family as God's beloved children, if it praised God to pour out love on us so that we are equally loved with Christ in the family of God, then that really means something for our spiritual lives and how we relate to God, how we relate to ourselves. And Thomas Merton touched on this in his book, Thoughts in Solitude. He said, there is no true spiritual life outside the love of Christ. We have a spiritual life only because we are loved by him. The spiritual life consists in receiving the gift of the Holy Spirit and his charity, because the Sacred Heart of Jesus has willed, in his love, that we should live by his Spirit, the same Spirit which proceeds from the Word and from the Father, and who is Jesus' love for the Father. If we know how great is the love of Jesus for us, we will never be afraid to go to him in all our poverty, all our weakness, all our spiritual wretchedness and infirmity. Indeed, when we understand the true nature of his love for us, we will prefer to come to him poor and helpless. We will never be ashamed of our distress. Distress is to our advantage when we have nothing to seek but mercy. We can be glad of our helplessness when we really believe that his power is made perfect in our infirmity. Friends, when we come to God powerless and helpless and distressed, we find ourselves in the arms of infinite mercy, of love that does not fail or end. That's why it is perfectly safe to abandon ourselves into the care of the God who reveals himself to us in Jesus. So let's do that with Charles de Foucault's prayer of abandonment. Father, I abandon myself into your hands. Do with me what you will. Whatever you may do, I thank you. I'm ready for all. I accept all. Let only your will be done in me and in all your creatures. I wish nothing more than this, O Lord. Into your hands I commend my soul. I offer it to you with all the love of my heart, for I love you, Lord, and so need to give myself, to surrender myself into your hands without reserve and with boundless confidence, for you are my Father. If the beginning and end of our lives today is simply to be loved by Christ, that will be enough, and truly will end up being everything. Let's bless the Lord. Thanks be to God.